Welcome to Tanked Up, the podcast all about video games and craft beer. I'm Ben, I'm here with Lucy.
Hello!
Hello! We're back
Hello.
again in video and audio format.
Yeah, and it should be working, but we won't know
Yes,
until this is over. Yeah.
completely. And now hopefully you're seeing a slightly nicer set of images as well, including a couple of cool logos too. So, and our beautiful faces, obviously, which is why you're here.
Yeah.
And to maybe see beer, more than likely.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably. For those of you just listening to us on your normal podcast service of choice in the audio format, hi, you can't see our beautiful faces, but you'll be able to hear the clack of the can and the pour of the beer as we dish it out.
ASMR.
A little bit. I'll seductively speak about the beer as well.
Yes.
Lucy, you're not drinking a beer tonight.
I'm not. Don't know why. No real reason to it. I've just been, got my nice jug of water though.
That's good.
I don't think I quite need to explain it for the audio listeners. It's just water.
Just
some
water.
ice.
Sure. Nice iced water. That's good. I am drinking a beer, however. I had a beer earlier because I thought I was going to start a little bit earlier, and I didn't. So I cracked a beer instead, and I drank that. But tonight I'm going to drink a beer from Tuol, which I believe is called Null. Or
that makes sense, yeah.
and it's a 0 IBU India Pale Ale.
How did they manage that?
Well, we'll see. Perhaps it's 6.9%.
Did they put 0 hops in it or something?
I've got no idea. It's going to be interesting to see what this is.
I've seen that can before, but even though Tuol are a fantastic brewery, some of their beers are on the more expensive.
Yeah,
Like
that's very true.
Sometimes, you know, £7 upwards. And it's like, ooh, I do love Tuol. I think the last beer I had from them was a Imperial Berliner Weiss.
Okay, that's probably why it was up there in price.
Yeah, but it was fantastic.
Good.
I think it was Imperial Raspberry Berliner Weiss.
Yeah?
I think, but yeah, that was crazy. It's like, I have not heard those words in the same sentence ever, and and they managed to do it, and they did it really well. So yeah, maybe I'll pick up, instead of picking up, I don't know, maybe 2 Cloudwaters, I'll just pick up a Tuol instead, because they make great beers.
That's true. I did go back to the brewery who I drank last week, the Popples, and I picked up
Poplars.
I picked up a wheat IPA from them.
Yes.
The bottle shop had 4 different beers, and actually it had a wheat IPA, the IPA I had before, a double IPA, and a session IPA, and they're all less than £3. So
That's the kind of prices I like.
completely. I think Popples will be that brewery that every time I go in the bottle shop now, it's like, right, I'll have one of those. Yep, I'll have one of those.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I can burn through the first 4 that they've produced, or at least that they may have produced a lot more, but at least that the bottle shop have in for them to then bring in, you know, new stock, new beers. Just as I've had that 4th one, hopefully, but we'll see. So this beer, it's very light in colour.
Yeah.
It maybe comes a little bit more amber on the screen than it actually is when I'm looking at it, unless I put it under the light. It's quite a nice. Almost, it has got that amber orangey hue to it, but it's a little more straw than that.
Yeah, you can see that at the bottom of the.
Yes. Yeah. Very carbonated. You know, obviously this glass does pull out a little more head, maybe for a little bit more on the nose than anything. But wow, it's got this very light fruity nose to it. You can almost smell the carbonation, the fizz to it. There's that kind of
like spritziness.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a lovely smell. Very light, very delicate. I haven't poured all of the can in yet, but I was thinking maybe I'd let the head reduce slightly. But I mean, you get the fizz straight away, the carbonation, on the flavour. And there is a very... It's almost... It's verging on a sour. So it's got those very light, delicate, kind of fruity flavours to it.
Yeah.
But with that sour edge. It's maybe not a berry sort of sourness, but that's a hard one to pick out exactly what that is. And I think there's a lot going on. There's a few different sort of fruity flavours kind of culminating in this sort of slightly sweeter kind of, well, I say sweeter, this sweetness that kind of picks up that sour nature to it.
Maybe I should just list off some fruit.
Just in case it comes to my mind. It hasn't got a bitterness.
Elderflower? That's something.
It hasn't got this. It hasn't got a bitterness to it at all.
Well, it's the IBUs.
Yeah, it is the whole way through. It's very, very delicate, and it kind of almost the sourness sticks around, kind of sticks to almost to the top of your mouth and stays there. But everything else, your mouth dries out quite nicely. But there's almost this absence of anything. There's barely any flavour that remains, apart from maybe this like slight sourness that they say sticks to the top of your mouth. But you can have that after effect. You know, if you drink like a really fizzy Lucozade as well, you still have that carbonation sort of sticking around in your mouth as well, and that kind of remains a little bit with that sourness. But it's weird, every time I breathe in, it kind of takes a little bit more away, and there's almost, you know, breathe in and there's that absence of flavour. Really odd, but really nice in the first, you know, sip, in that first instance.
And it was 6.9%?
Yeah, 6.9%.
Can you taste any of that alcohol, or is it...
No.
Or is it quite light?
I think it's quite light. I mean, it is really light.
Yeah.
And that kind of that light sweetness matching that sourness is definitely the fruity kind of nature to it. I don't pick up on that alcohol at all, really.
Because it's about to say, like, the way that you're describing it, some elements I'd like attribute to like a table beer.
Yeah.
Just, you know, even though this is not low alcohol, but you still get that quite delicate flavour. But you still get, you know, quite like a Belgian table beer. You still get like quite a lot of fizz and spritziness to it, and getting a little bit of flavour, a little bit of fruitiness, but it's not overbearing or anything.
Completely. So. Yeah. It's so it is. That's a really easy drinking sour as well.
Yeah.
You know, it does dry your mouth out, but only as an IPA does, really. It doesn't sort of make you purse in from a sourness and dry you out. So yeah, I think that works really well. When we were talking previously about, you know, good sour IPA kind of mashups, and the Beer O'Clock Show got in touch and gave us that example. Was it the Trolltunga? Was the one that they gave us the example from Buxton?
Buxton. Yeah.
This is a very good sour IPA. Even though it's not called a sour IPA.
Yeah. But
this is what I would.
On those sour flavours, then.
Yeah.
A spade is a spade.
Well, yes. Sometimes it's a shovel, but
true.
We won't get into that. Let's talk about some games, Lucy.
Okay. The water's very nice.
Oh, good.
By the way, yeah.
Cool, refreshing.
Yes. I have been playing, well, quite a lot up until this point, but I had finished it on Sunday, and it is Hollow Knight, so I'm checking back in with Hollow Knight. We spoke about it on the last podcast. I think I was about 6 hours in at that point.
Yeah.
I finished it. After I finished it, I've gone back and played a bit more, still discovering more secrets and areas. But my final clock time, I think, was 26 hours.
Okay.
So it's a beefy game.
Significant,
yeah. Much more in depth and longer than I ever thought it was. I thought it'd be like, typical Metroidvania, probably can finish it in sub 15 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was always continuing to surprise me, as in the vein of Metroidvanias. You're obviously unlocking new abilities, finding new areas. I was still doing that post game. I think I'm about 32 hours now.
Okay.
But you know, even at the 30-hour mark, I was still finding new things,
Nice.
new secrets, and I think I'm at about 76% played. 76 completion percent completion. Sorry, at the moment. So there's still a quarter of the game that I haven't uncovered. So it's absolutely fantastic. And to be made by such a small team when the credits rolled, and it's like 5 people made this game or something. It's crazy.
Nice.
And it's just perfection. I mean, I can't praise it more. It's one of the best Metroidvanias I've ever played. It's right up there. It's one of my favourites. I mean, looking back on years to come, it might, who knows? It could actually be my favourite, because the art style, this kind of gothic, like dark, black and white almost art style, and it's about bugs, which is weird, but the animation on all the bugs, and how there's so many different enemy varieties, and how all their like weapons and movesets differ to each enemies. There's so many of them.
Yeah.
The map is huge once you uncover it all, and then you know, when you're looking back on it, it's like, I can't believe how densely packed each area is as well. It's so detailed in every way, and the combat's, you know, it keeps evolving. You have this little sword, and you can upgrade it over time, and you get new abilities. And there's these things called charms. You can only equip so many of them on your person at once, but like experimenting which charms work better with others. Like some charms you can get that will help you heal whilst being sheltered from enemies, and some will help you be stronger in combat, and some will make you move faster, some will make you dash faster or something like that. And you can cater the gameplay to how you want it. You can tailor it to your own play style as well.
That's cool.
It's just so much depth to this game. I could go on for hours and I wouldn't have even scratched the surface.
Yeah.
But
Do you think you're going to go back? Do you think you'll go back and do everything? You know, will you get 100% on this?
I don't think so, because it's just so much. There's so much, and a lot of it is it's quite ambiguous. The story's very lofty. It's very heady. The writing's very good, but it's very mysterious. And you're not. I think the sense of trying to figure out what's going on in the world and everything like that. I think you slowly piece it together, and even still, for me, it's like, I don't know what's going on. This is way above my pay grade in terms of understanding.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will be like, you know, like scholars and looking into it and, you know, trying to decipher all the different things.
Yeah.
I think I've got my fill out of what the story is. It's meant to be ambiguous. It's meant to be, you know, mysterious. And I finished the last boss, and I think I got my closure from that. The going back after the credits rolled, it's more of a case of me just trying to find all the different areas, and I think I've found most of them. I'm not even sure, because this game's so huge. I'm not even sure, but I'm pretty sure I found all the areas, and you know, seeing all the areas and seeing what they have to offer. It's just a case of going back, tracking back through the areas, just to find, you know, different kind of things. There's basically, you get a sword that can wake up dead spirits, and that comes about halfway through the game.
Yeah.
And when you notice you can do that, you can go back to areas and then find those.
them.
Yeah, and resurrect them and then fight them. But it looks to me like there's probably 1 billion of them, and it's like, I'm not sure if I can do all of this for the 100%
Yeah, that's the
completion,
other
but
25% is finding the other
Yeah.
50 of them.
yeah, and ugh, the map's huge, and it was fun going back and forth throughout it. But once you do that so many times, and it's just a case of backtracking just to, find things that you might have not realised on the first time around, which is, pretty cool up to a certain point. But I think I've had my fill.
That's fair.
There are some. I don't know if this was DLC or what, but there's like free trials, like basically thrown into a gladiator pit with other bugs. And I've done the first two. Did those are a piece of cake, but the third one, tried it twice. It lasts literally about 10 minutes, and it's like, I tried it twice or three times, and on the third time I was like, my heart's racing. I'm a bit too old for this. Gonna end up, doing some damage to the old ticker if I keep doing this. I'm just gonna stop right now. Maybe try it again another time, but not today. Not 4 times in a row.
If you get some time when all these games stop being released and there's a little window for you to go back to it, then maybe.
Possibly, but I've had my fill.
That's, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fantastic. You should pick it up. It's on sale on Steam.
Ooh, Steam sale, woo.
Woo! And I think it's about £8.
Really, that's pretty good.
50% off. Yeah. For the value, it's insane. I mean, it's £11.99 on Switch. I think it's... I don't know if it's actually cheaper on Switch, which is never the case, but...
No. And Nintendo tax not doing what it needs to.
Yeah. I'm sure it's £11.99, but even if this game was like, £40, it's still a steal.
Yeah, quality. Nice.
It's masterfully crafted. It's a Kickstarter game, which is absurd. So I
think people sort of falsely equate value to some products, especially games, justify a Evelyn's. I'm gonna have to cut all this out and start again. Evelyn's monitor has just died. I'm gonna have to go get the charger. So yeah, I think we kind of falsely put value to certain games based on some ridiculous things, such as longevity, how long the game is, how long you're going to play it for, graphical fidelity. A lot of AAA games these days, which you almost expect to be, they're the highest paying product. You're not going to pay much more than a AAA game for any game, and all of them are kind of striving for the top kind of graphics, not to be necessarily as realistic as possible, but to be kind of pushing the tech and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And we almost kind of use these as value measurements, which I don't think makes much sense really, because you might pick something up for 60 quid and it sits on your shelf for a little while. You then go and play it, and maybe it doesn't connect with you. You play it for a few hours, maybe 2 or 3, and you just don't want to play it anymore. You haven't, you haven't kind of got what you wanted from that game, and it hasn't hit with you. And you take it back to the shop, and they'll give you £4 for it because you've waited a few months until you tried it out. And so you know that value kind of is different for different people. But you get something like Hollow Knight, which is a 25-hour game which held you, which you didn't kind of bounce off of. But put that against something like Minute, which came out at maybe not quite the same price point, maybe a little bit cheaper when it first released than Hollow Knight was.
$8.99.
About $8.99, yeah. Hollow Knight was what, $11.99. So
yeah,
we're only talking about maybe a third more expensive. It's not one was 5 quid and one was 45 quid.
Yeah.
And some cats fighting outside. Probably my cat, more than likely. So it's difficult to kind of, when you say it's only $11.99, I had an absolute blast with this game. You should go ahead. You should support the developer. You'll get a lot out of this experience. It's a really fun game. One of my top games of the year, maybe. So it's kind of difficult for especially when stuff comes in sale so much as well, for you to kind of, or for me at least, to ignore this, to know that it's a steal at £8 or something like that, really based on sort of like your recommendation and things. Not having to worry about whether it's going to take me 10 or 25 hours. It's a difficult mindset to kind of get out of if that's what you're in. Yeah,
and you see so many people just on like forums and comment sections who are like, just see an 8-bit or 16-bit game, and that's being made by an indie studio, and people are like, oh, what's this trash? This should be $2.99 on the or free on the iOS store and stuff like that. And it's just so disheartening to see. And I don't think people realise that we got hot trash all the time in 80s and 90s, and you'd pay for the same. In fact, adjusted for inflation, more than you do now for a game that could potentially be broken or just hot trash, and you didn't have any Steam instant refund or Microsoft Xbox self refund service or anything like that. You just had that game. So it's probably just like 12-year-olds be like, this isn't Fortnite, I don't want it.
Can I play this on my Switch because I've played it on my PS4? I don't know. I don't know why 12-year-olds speak like that, but they do.
They do.
Yeah. But it sounds, I mean, Hollow Knight, from what you've said, sounds really good. I think it's just released on Switch, hasn't it?
It did, yes.
But it's
been free.
It's been out for a little while on other platforms.
PC. Yeah, it's been on PC since like early last year. I mean, I knew I'd always feel bad for sleeping on it because I was like, this looks really cool, and it's a Metroidvania, and it's got really good scores. But Switch is the perfect platform to play on it because it's just, I mean, I'm not someone who typically plays on my PC for long periods of time. That's just me. But
that's fair.
You
have a preference in where you want to play things. That's fine.
Yeah, PC's just I like playing smaller condensed experiences like indie games on my PC. Console games I can put more hours into because it's just more of a comfortable experience for me. And I hate playing platformers on PC as well anyway. So even if I had a controller plugged in, it would still feel wrong.
Well, that moves us quite well into what I've been playing, because that is my only criticism of the game, platforming.
Oh yeah.
Right. So
it's not good.
It's not good. So I've gone back and I've been playing Doom, the 2016 release Doom, on PlayStation 4 because it's been on sale. It was about £8, talking about sales and value for money and all that sort of bollocks. It was on sale. It was £8. I originally played Doom at a friend's place. I was away for a weekend. A friend had Doom not long after release. We all played it. We all tried it. We got maybe a few hours in. Not far. We didn't get to... I'm going to spoil it, but it's been out for a while now. We didn't go through the Hellgate, basically. We were still on Mars when we were playing through, so we didn't play a huge amount, but it was fun. It was brutal. Absolutely loved the visceral nature of those glory kills. The shooting is so tight in that game,
so good,
and it's
so good,
and it's fast and it's frantic, and I mean, it even tells you when you start the game up, if you stand still you will die, and that is, you've just got to keep moving. And playing it a bit further, it just builds so well. The new weapons that you get at the later levels, the enemies that keep popping up, the challenge that it gives you. It's not just more enemies that it pops up in later levels, it's the frequency and the amount of enemies that you get, and maybe you don't get quite as much health or armor between encounters between people and things like that. It's paced so well, on top of those absolutely tight mechanics. and we were talking earlier as well, like the score for it, the music is fantastic, and
So good.
it fits what you're doing so well. But platforming, why are they making me do platforming in Doom?
Yeah, it's not pretty.
No,
I think they said that they're going to improve that for the second game, and it's like, too right. Yeah, you should.
I would imagine they definitely have to. I've definitely died more through platforming failures than I have through enemies killing me.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's when you get that double jump as well that platforms aren't. You can't really tell whether they're in range of one jump or whether you've got a double jump.
Yeah.
And you either completely miss them because you've jumped once, or you overshoot them because you've jumped twice. And it's just not.
Yeah.
It's just not as. It's a shame because it's not quite as tight
as the rest of the gameplay. Yeah.
And those platforming bits don't really kind of need to be there because the levels are laid out so well that I can understand they want to get you. Up to another level and then move around on that plane before descending or whatever, but and they're not going to necessarily have a staircase every single time. There's times when that wouldn't make sense, but you kind of need to have everything so it's readable, perhaps. And that you don't need that double jump unless it's to get to higher places or significantly longer distances away. So there's parts of it where you're right up towards the end of the Mars kind of missions, and you're running along sort of that outdoor area, moving up externally to the tower.
Yeah.
And you're running on each side of the ramp and stuff, or the grated sort of almost like a crane walkway type thing. And double jumping across to the other side makes sense, but double jumping to get halfway and then in the middle a little bit and then back across and stuff, that's not quite what you want to be doing. But it feels like you need to double jump, so it just that kind of just doesn't sit as well.
Yeah, those sections pretty much messed up the flow of that game. Not to where I mean, Doom is one of my favourite games of 2016 and one of the best shooters I've played in ages, but it certainly did mess up the flow of it. I remember dying several times on, I think it was like you're going across a suspended carriage over to somewhere else. I can't remember, but I know it was frustrating. That's all I remember about it. But the good points, Ben. The good points.
Yes, there are many.
There are many.
So
yeah, and I didn't know that you had finished it. Hadn't finished it before, so. I'm interested to think what you see what you think about the later levels, because for me they went on a tiny bit too long. They could have been cut a bit shorter. I liked the final boss. It was a bit easy on the easy side for me. I think I'm not trying to brag here. I don't know if it's because I'm competent at first-person shooters, but I didn't think the game was that hard overall. So, I did go start back and play it on hard the first time I finished it. But I was like, you know what, I don't want to play this again anyway.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fine. I think I've left it a decent amount of time to kind of return to it, where it's not maybe as fresh in my memory, and especially with Doom Eternal being announced at the Bethesda conference, I kind of wanted to step back into that, so at least when Doom Eternal comes out, I've got a much more closer frame of reference for what that game's going to be. So I think with the later parts of the game, that yes, they do go on a little bit longer. I think that sometimes that perhaps adds a little bit to the tension and the difficulty, maybe, that you're pushed that little bit more to keep going, that you where you thought maybe the end of the level was going to be, you're pushed a little bit further. I'm playing on the second setting, Hurt Me a bit or Hurt Me something like that.
I thought there was only 3.
I think there's 4.
I'm probably wrong. Right. Okay.
But I think what I'm playing on is medium. So I guess there's medium, easy,
Yeah.
hard, and harder, extreme, whatever they call it. But they don't quite call it that. They call it something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm playing on the
Slayer.
I've liked, actually, that's one of the parts that I kind of didn't really get into, was, you know, this very almost throwaway kind of lore behind it, but all of these data pads and all of that sort of stuff. Actually, this time around, I've stopped and I've listened to things, and it's only a bit of exposition. It only builds the world a little bit and stuff like that. It's not groundbreaking narrative or anything, but it adds a little bit, and it's a nice sort of reprieve between the constant movement and shooting and encounters. So it allows a little bit of breathing room, and I think that's kind of.
See,
good.
I didn't want any breathing room.
Yeah,
I was just like,
fair.
I'm not going to stand around and listen to this,
shit.
or find one of those little Doom toys or whatever. I was just like, no, just move me on to the next section. You know, get me to that next Mick Gordon riff, and I'm fine.
Oh, completely. I mean, that's one of the things I haven't really delved into. I did a little bit with the secrets and the little Doom guys that you find, collectibles and stuff. I've kind of found a few, but I've not really gone out of my way on the levels, because with it being a second playthrough, I wanted to see the game out. So that's what I've done. You know, I've churned through it to get to finish it, essentially. I don't think it's a game that I'll jump back into to go in and get collectibles or anything like that.
Yeah, especially when most of those collectibles will probably require some platforming in it.
Yes,
which is like,
exactly.
Nah, I'm good. I don't need to 100% this game.
And they're the ones that I've ignored, essentially. You know, when you unlock the map, all the secrets and you know, key points become available to look at on the map, and the ones I've ignored are the ones that take some platforming. The ones that I've kind of gone for are where you find the elite guards and you can take a chip out of them to upgrade yourself, or a new weapon and things like that. Stuff that's going to help me during the experience, rather than just, here's a collectible that's going to unlock some cool stuff to look at. So because you've got the BFG, haven't you? That you get that on Mars still, don't you? Did I get it on Mars?
I can't remember. I thought you still got it. I think it's before you go to hell.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Is it? Yes. I can't remember, because I do find that when another gun unlocks, if you miss it in the level.
Yeah.
So there was a gun I missed, which was I missed the rocket launcher.
Oh, the rocket launcher was great.
I didn't find it, but it was.
I think I found all of the weapons, but I didn't know that you could miss them.
You can miss them because they're, you know, some of the weapons are sort of secrets almost.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But I think I found that actually I missed the rocket launcher, but then it was just there in the next level to pick up. So I just got it then.
Oh, that's good.
So
because having the full weapon wheel is so much fun, and and I think when you get the BFG, it's like it's one of the story parts, isn't it? So it's unmissable at one point, and it's like, because throughout that whole game you're like, when is it going to come? Am I going to get it?
Yeah. I like the upgrade system as well with those guns. You know, you almost pick the modification that you want. That's you know, rather than just a zoom with L2, that sort of secondary fire mode, and then you can kind of upgrade that. I really like that element of it as well. It kind of makes you a little bit more focused and allows you to upgrade the way you kind of want to play. So there's a couple of guns which allow you to have a scope, and then you can upgrade what happens around that scope. And actually, so it's maybe like assault rifle. One of them's a scope, and one of them's a mini rocket launcher or something like that out of the mods. And I picked the scope because you know, I can see enemies from from a distance, and I can just hit in the scope and just hit them instantly. And then kind of
I
get
did
into
the opposite.
it. Yeah, just
I wanted no scopes on anything. I was like, don't give me any scopes. No, just no scopes.
Again, so that
get up in their faces.
just
Yeah, you can tailor
shows
it
our
to how
point
you
is you can
want.
tailor it. It's the joy of that upgrade system for us. So yeah, I think it does that very well, and I'd like to see that come across and to the second game and not really be altered too much. You know, maybe another way to play, maybe not just ranged versus kind of close quarters, but something else. So maybe each of the weapons has a third modification that you can kind of choose to go through. But you know, I don't really want much of this version to be changed for a second game.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think I said for the Division 2 that I'd like to see something more from that game and something different. I think with Doom, I just want more of that game.
Yeah, because they got it right the first time.
Yeah, completely.
What's your favourite gun then so far?
Shit, there's one that looks like the plasma sword from Halo. So it's kind of two prongs with then a central kind of energy orb, which you fire it and it explodes a little further off.
I vaguely remember.
And then the secondary mode that I've picked is a scope, and you go into you hold L2, you go into scoped mode, and the gun you see it up the side just charge up.
Oh yes,
hits
I know what you're on
harder
about.
on that second one. So yeah, the first time I encountered a Hell Demon, I had that gun equipped, and I think it took one headshot with that fully charged to just take it down. Like, oh, these guys are pretty easy, and then another two turn up and they just beat you down. But you know, it works really well that different situations require different guns as well. That, you know, you're at range, you can use this set of weapons, and then when you're up close, you kind of want to be in with this different set of weapons to be able to get maximum explosions from everything.
Well, because I've played in just like such close quarters, I was like, I just want the shotgun. It's like the sawn-off shotgun, because there's two shotguns.
The super shotgun.
Yeah, I was just like, I'll use the other weapons when I run out of ammo for this one or whatever.
And it's clever that both shotguns take the same ammo as well.
Yeah.
So you basically pick the kind of, it's not just the modifications in that sense. You pick the style of shotgun you want to run with as well. With it being kind of the shotgun is the main weapon really in the game. So yeah, it's just another little clever thing that they've done with it.
Yeah. No aiming, no aiming down the sights, no scopes, close quarters, shotgun. Loving it.
Yeah,
loving it.
Yeah, it is. It's so. Oh, it's just such a good game.
Yes, it is. It's when everyone was talking about Titanfall 2 that year, which was a great game on its own. But I was like, have you tried Doom? Because that blows Titanfall 2 out of the water, if you ask me.
That's it. I mean, id Software kind of invented first-person shooters, didn't they? Really? So
yeah. Titanfall 2 campaign was great. Superhot's campaign was great.
Yeah.
Was it Battlefield 1 that year?
It was. Yes, it was.
That was also pretty good. And the Call of Duty Advanced in Space Warfare.
Call of Duty Space Force.
Yeah. Yeah. Donald Trump's Call of Duty Activision's Space Wars.
Oh my god!
Force.
Could you imagine in Black Ops if he is the cameo celebrity that they bring in? Jesus Christ! And it's just him giving that same speech. We're starting a Space Force, and then it rolls in a little montage of the Space Force through the years, and then goes into that's the start of the campaign. You're a rookie in the Space Force. Fuck's sake, America! What are you doing?
I hope so. But yeah, that was a good FPS as well that year. Better than about 6 of the Call of Duties that preceded it. So it's a good year for shooters, but Doom was certainly the best one.
It was top, yeah, completely.
Yeah, objectively.
I think it didn't that year. I don't think it featured on my kind of Game of the Year stuff because I hadn't put in the time with it, and it was almost it was kind of that fun couch co-op but single player experience where you trade the controller every time you die, or when you change to to the new level, the controller moves across. which was great for the sort of the three of us because we were constantly getting to swap the pad over. Because the levels on them aren't, they're not exceptionally long really until maybe the later parts of the game. Actually, maybe the last mission on Mars where you're having to climb the tower is a little longer than maybe it should have been. But yeah, it was kind of a nice quick switch of that controller to play with a bunch of people. So yeah, just another thing that Doom has given me. Completely different experience. Friends, yay! Right, should we finish there?
I think we should.
Yes.
Yes.
For the audio listeners, Lucy, how was your water?
What was that? You cut off.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. How was your water?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Good.
Refreshing.
I'm glad it's
not
helped.
Not too dry.
Yes.
Not too bitter. Not too hoppy. It's good.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So this 2-0. So it's the only beer we've drank this week. Obviously the winner, of course.
Yes.
So the 2-0 Null, which is 0 IBU India Pale Ale, 6.9%. So it's, as I said at the beginning, it is a sour IPA, but it's so delicate, and that lasts all the way through as well. It towards the end, the sweetness and the sourness kind of molded together a little more. Towards the end of it, I wasn't quite picking them out as much as I was in those first few sips. Within the first 5 minutes or the first quarter of this glass, everything was quite definitive, whereas now it's all blended a little bit better. It's blended a little bit more. It's a lot harder to kind of pick out the sweetness and the sourness, and it works very well, those two elements kind of coupled together. That fruitiness still remains, but even now I've got a dryness,
right,
and as I think I said at the beginning, almost that absence of flavour.
Yeah,
that sourness is kind of stuck around a little bit at the top of my mouth, but that's it. It's a really odd beer, but it is very good. I mean, I would very easily crack another can and drink this again.
Yeah.
So
good. No bitterness can still be a good IPA.
Completely.
Then. Just shows. Yeah.
It does, and
who'd have thought?
We probably say this every week, but we love our bitterness.
We do.
But this is very good. It's very good. It almost reminds me a little bit of a thinking a little bit deeply. It reminds me a bit more of a kettle sour than just a kind of a standard sour, maybe.
Yeah.
It's maybe it's that sweetness. It's that sort of almost slight kind of tanginess to it, which may edge a little bit on a more metallic-y kind of side as well.
You're going through all the emotions.
It's just throwing me through the loop,
To all do strange things, and it usually always works. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do very strange things in very good ways.
Yes.
Yeah. I do enjoy it too well. They're very good. They're very good.
Are they at the Bristol Craft Brew Festival? All right. Were they there last year? Can't remember.
They weren't there last year. I don't think.
Are they there this year? Maybe not.
Hopefully.
They better be.
Oh, it's going to be another messy weekend, isn't it? But that's to come.
Yes.
That's not for a while. We've still got other events to come before that, like
we
our
do.
Birmingham trip and things like that. So,
Woo!
all things that you listener / watch viewer maybe will get to experience.
Voyeur.
Yes, that's exactly what this is. It's a little. It's slightly voyeuristic. Yes, things that you'll get to experience in the coming weeks and months. Things that we're going to do. Little events that we're going to go to. But for this week, the 2-0 Null 0 IBU IPA was very good, and you should go and enjoy it. So, Lucy, how do people talk to you if they wish to do so?
You can add me, JuicyLoose9 on Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, or just tweet me at TankedUpLucy, and I will be back next week with the usual beers. I'm not running off to a convent or anything. I'm
It's just a little reprieve, isn't it? Just
yeah,
allow your body to, you know, get
My
over all
old
of the
tired
drinking we've been doing.
yes.
Yeah, as I said to you earlier in the week, I've stopped drinking kind of during the week. It's only the podcast recording and weekends that I'm drinking on, unless my Beer 52 box turns up and I'm torn and I have to.
I mean,
have
it'd
maybe
be rude
one.
not to.
It would.
You know?
It would be rude.
The postman
to just sample it.
He carried them on his back. There was no van. He carried them on his back.
Just
to
a rope
deliver
over
them
his
to you.
shoulder, just
Yeah.
down the street, really heavy. He's got 10 of them as well to drop off all around the county of Gloucestershire or Bristol, or he's got a long trek ahead of him. Yeah, I had to have one just for him. That's exactly true. Yeah,
exactly.
Nice. If you want to get hold of me and tell me why I should just drink every day and not have a break during the week, you can do that at Nova_47 on Twitter, Nova_47 on PSN, and on Steam. I'm not anywhere else. That's it. That's the only places I exist. But you can get all of us at tankedup_cast on Twitter. You should go to outoflives.net to look at all of our E3 coverage and lots of other things that are stemming from that. If you were a Facebook user and you liked our Facebook page, there are a few of you, not many, but there are a few of you. Make sure that you go over to the Out of Lives Facebook page instead, because we have transferred over to them. And we've been doing a lot of little videos and things like that. They've been going directly onto the Facebook feed. That's the only place you will see them. So go to Out of Lives on the Facebooks. Facebooks.net. No. Facebooks.com. Outoflives.net. There we go. The internet. It's a strange, wonderful place. Yes, the webs.
Yeah.
Just go to your Googles or your Lyricos or your Ask Jeeves and type Out of Lives in, and we'll appear. We'll be there somewhere. Ask Jeeves, what is Out of Lives?
Jeeves is dead.
And he'll say ghosts. Ghosts are out of lives. Oh shit. I was going to sign off, but that doesn't make any sense. I was going to say, for another week we have been tanked up, but actually maybe we've been ghosts.
I've been tanked down.
You have been tanked down, that's so true. Yes. We won't sign off properly, we'll just say bye-bye.
Bye.
A very nice...
Ciao.
A very... Ciao. A very nice light. Bye. Ciao.
Ta-da.